Hey guys, it is the AFL Yank back here again for another tipping video for my round 15 tips. And honestly, all I gotta say is I have nothing but positives about round 14 and tipping, pretty much. But yeah, look at that. Absolutely nailed all of them. Absolutely nailed all of them. A perfect 5-0. The first time I have gone undefeated in a round, which is just absolutely incredible. I did make a post about it on my Instagram, of course, and all that goodness. But yeah, let's review this round. So yeah, the Cats in an absolute thriller against the Dogs at GMHBA Stadium. An absolute thriller of a game between both sides, but in the end, Gary Rowan was just too much for the Dogs, as the Cats of course he would kick the game-winning goal after this. He would kick the game-winning goal for the Cats after the siren. Just an absolutely incredible game on Friday. Just an absolutely incredible game. And then there were three games yesterday on Saturday. We had Port versus Gold Coast, which I predicted Port to actually win by a big margin, and they actually did. But yeah, 51-point win for the Power. One of their biggest wins of the season, as they continue to stomp against terrible sides. But they still just cannot get past sides above them. That's been an issue about them. Then we got Brisbane versus North. North actually was leading at half, but yeah, the Lions were just too strong for them. Yeah, Lions got a 23-point win against the Roos. It was a pretty solid game, but in the end, like I mentioned before, Lions were just too strong. Then GWS versus Carlton, just a miserable game for the Blues. Just an absolutely miserable game. Toby Green, though, was an absolute beast. Absolute beast against the Blues. He had that crazy 67-yard goal he made after the siren, I believe, quarter time. Just Toby Green was on fire in this game. Just absolute fire. And then finally, to officially complete my tips, to be undefeated this round, I tipped Essendon to beat Hawthorn. And look at what happened. For the first time in 10,000 days, the Bombers are going to win in Tasmania. Although the Hawks did give it their all. However, once again, just their inexperience of youth just showed. But yeah, regardless, a perfect tipping this round for me, and probably a lot of others as well, because I have known some people who tipped the same teams as I did, pretty much. But yeah, an absolutely thrilling round, I gotta say. Just a great round of footy overall. And now we are going to get on to my tips for round 15. So here we go. Thursday night, back again, as it is the Cats versus the Lions. Geelong, of course, coming off that huge win against the Western Bulldogs, a massive statement win. They're now facing against the Lions, who had a meh game against the bad side. They didn't have that best of a game, but yeah, it was a 23-point win against the Roos. They could have won by more, but regardless, still a win for the Lions. But I think home advantage will definitely play in this one. The Lions have once again remained dominant at the Gabba, despite of course teams like the Swans beating them, of course, at the Gabba. I just love looking back on those first three rounds, honestly, as a Swan supporter. Man, those first three rounds just felt so special. And even the win in round 4 felt really good. But yeah. Well, especially it felt really good, obviously. But yeah. So regardless, Lions, I'm tipping them to win this game. I think this will be another thriller of a game. This is a rematch, of course, of the game at GMHBA, where the Lions honestly should have won, but this is going to be a really good game. I'm actually going to tip the Lions to win by 3 points. I think it'll be a thriller on Thursday night. Definitely looking forward to it. And then next, it is Friday, beginning Friday's games. There's two of them. The first being, well, actually, shoot. I always get mixed up because obviously I live in the States, and like the first Saturday game usually sometimes airs late at night on Fridays, actually. But yeah. So yeah, Friday night at the MCG, it's the Tigers versus the Saints. Richmond, of course, coming off. The Tigers, of course, I believe they were on their... Yeah, they were on the bye. Yeah, the Lions were on their bye this... The freaking Lions, oh my god. The Tigers were on their bye, I believe, last round. But yeah, Tigers, a big win. Well, actually, the Tigers, they were on their bye this round. They're coming off a really tight loss against the Eagles. It was definitely a great game though, but yeah, just the Tigers fell short against the Eagles at home at Optus. But regardless, I'm very trustworthy about saying that the Tigers are going to win this game. Very trustworthy, honestly. And the next game on the Saturday's games, it is North Melbourne playing in Tasmania. Where they have been relatively dominant over the years, but yeah, obviously the season has not gone well for them, but I think they might put out a strong performance. They potentially can. They have a good opportunity of getting a win here against the Lonely Suns, who have been having issues this season. Just things are not going too well for them right now. Even with upset wins like against the Swans, obviously. I mean, it seems like the frickin' Swans always like play down the I mean, we're a young side, so I guess there's some excuses about that, but yeah. The Roos being heavy favorites coming into this round, primarily focusing on home advantage. And I'll actually admit it. I might actually go for the Roos on this one. I'm actually going to tip the Roos to win this game. I feel like it'll be a tight game. It'll be really tight. But I feel like the Roos could potentially squeeze out a win here. But yeah. And then Collingwood versus Freo. Then the next Saturday game at Marvel, it is Collingwood versus Freo. Pies, of course, coming off the Pies are obviously were on their bye. They said farewell to Nathan Buckley, coming off a massive win against the D's. The Pies have actually been in pretty solid form as of late, to be honest. They've been in pretty solid form. But yeah, a lot of people seeming to be trustworthy in the Pies this round. Although, I might actually have to put an upset here. I'm actually going to tip an upset here, actually. I feel like the Dockers, well, this one's like really difficult here, actually. I was going to say Freo, but Pies have actually been in pretty good form as of late. They had that huge win against the D's and all that goodness. But I just feel like the Dockers might beat them, potentially, but this is going to be a really tight game. But for the heck of it, I might actually tip this one an upset. I feel trustworthy in Freo potentially winning this game since they're in the finals hunt. Like, I honestly feel trustworthy in tipping the Dockers, honestly, just because, they're in the finals hunt. But anything could happen. I wouldn't be surprised if the Pies won. I mean, they've been in good form as of late. The next, it is Essendon versus Melbourne. The Bombers, of course, coming off a huge win over the Hawks in Tasmania. And the D's coming off a big loss against the Pot. They're coming off their bye. They had that big loss against the Pies before their bye. But to be honest, I'm obviously trustworthy in the D's winning this game. They've been a really hot side as of late. I have no issue saying that they're definitely going to have a shot of rebounding from that loss against the Pies, obviously, since they were on their bye. But yeah. And then finally, we got the The Saturday night, it is Port versus Sydney at the Adelaide Oval. The Power, they've been a really good side against lowly sides, like sides below them. And especially at home, they've been really good too, but yeah. And of course, the Swans, my Swannies, they've been really good against top 8 sides. Just absolutely marvelous against top 8 sides. But it just seems like we can't freaking defeat lowly sides. Like, we just can't defeat bad sides, it seems. We always can't, like, we can't, we're having like, trouble trying to put away our, like, we're having so many problems trying to put away teams. I mean, there was the Saints game where we had plenty of opportunities to get a big lead, and the Saints ended up getting a lot of opportunities. And heck, if Higgins had kicked straight, we probably would have lost. There was the Bombers game where we almost lost, although that was definitely a really good win, especially with Buddy Franklin closing out the game incredibly well, just with his heroics. That Giants game we probably should have won. We probably should have won against the Giants. And then we probably should have beaten... And then we honestly, if had we beaten the D's, and also had we beaten Freo, like, we probably should have won against... We also should have won against Freo. We would be 11-2 right now. But yeah, 8-5. Most of our games have gone either way. I believe, like, at least half of our games have actually been down to the wire. They've been, like, the margin was at least 10 points or less. And heck, had we lost against Geelong, Essendon, and St. Kilda, we would be 5-8 right now. But yeah, that's just the formula of, games going either way. But yeah, regardless, this is the first round since round 7 where I'm actually going to tip against the Swans. Like, I'm just going to tip the Power just to be safe. I will tip Port to... I'm going to tip Port just to be safe, so I don't, like, be idiotic like I was against... so I don't be, like, all, like just trying to hold my marbles in like I did when I tipped the Swans against the D's, because, of course, we've had a really good record against the D's over the years. But yeah, regardless, I'm going to tip Port to win this game. I might do something special with the margin just to, create that formula I did, like, earlier this season and all that goodness. And then GWS facing Hawthorn. But yeah, Port, they're coming off a big win against Gold Coast. And the Swans, obviously, were on their bye. Just, that loss against Hawthorn, it just really hurts, man. It just really, really hurts. But yeah, GWS. Then we got GWS facing Hawthorn at Giants Stadium. I'm relatively confident about the Giants winning this game. They should get the job done very well handily. Just very well, like, they should just handily get this win. And then the Eagles versus the Dogs. Dogs coming off that big loss against the Cats at GMHBA. The Eagles, their course coming off, they're coming off their bye. Before that, they had that big win against, I know they had that big win, obviously, against Carlton, and then I think they had another, they had that huge win against the Tigers at home. I reckon, I'm actually going to tip another upset here. I actually think the Dogs could get the job done, potentially. Like, I don't know why, but I just feel trustworthy. I feel like the Dogs might sneak out a win here. Well, actually, never mind. I'm going to go with the Eagles just to be safe. Since, the Eagles have been a really good side. Been a really, really solid side. Since, the Eagles, they've been a really solid side at home, of course. And I feel like this game might go down the wire as well, for sure. But yeah. And then finally, Carlton versus Adelaide. I'm actually going to tip another upset here. I'm actually going to go another upset. Okay, yeah, I did tip Freo. So yeah. So I'm not, like, false advertising there. But yeah, I'm actually going to go with the Crows to win this game. I'm just not trustworthy in Carlton right now. Just the Blues have been a mess as of late. Yeah, they've had some great players. There has been some good performances from numerous players. It just seems like, they just don't have the capability to win against other sides. And plus, the Blues did lose to Adelaide last year. So yeah, keep in mind of that. But yeah, I just feel trustworthy in the Crows. I feel like they'll get this job done. Plus, they're coming off their bye. So yeah, I'm going to go with the Crows to win this game. Tips have been saved. And yeah. And now we're going to do the marginal predictions using Squiggle. So yeah. So tip the Lions to win by 3 points. That should be a huge win for... That's going to be a huge win for Brisbane. Richmond versus St. Kilda. The Tigers, I think, will just be too strong against the Saints. I feel like the Tigers are just going to be too strong against the Saints. I reckon a 26-point win. Just to lock up their spot in the 8. North versus Gold Coast. This should definitely be an interesting thriller, but I feel like it'll go down to the wire, but I reckon North sneak a win there. Then Collingwood versus Freo. I'm actually going to tip Freo to win this game. I just feel trustworthy in them for some reason. Like, they're in the finals on it, and I feel like they'll be hell-bent on that. Essendon versus Melbourne. The Bombers, of course, coming off that big win against the Hawks, and D's off their bye. I just think the D's are going to be too strong. I mean, the Bombers will definitely give it all, but I think they might give it their all, but I just think the D's are the better side right now. Port versus Sydney. This game could go either way, but just for the hell of it, I'm just going to say 31... Oh, shit, not 31-point win. I'm just going to say for the hell of it, 31-point win for Port. Just to keep in mind. Just to keep in mind. Wink, wink. Because I've done this tactic before, and it's worked. GWS versus Hawthorn. Giants are going to be just too good. 38-point win. And then West Coast versus the Dogs. And then West Coast versus the Dogs. This should be a thriller, but I think the Eagles squeeze by this by 5 points. And then Carlton versus Adelaide. I'm actually going to go with the Crows to actually win pretty solidly. But yeah. So there's my tips. D's first, Dogs second, Lions third, Geelong fourth, Port fifth, Eagles sixth, Richmond seventh, Swans eighth. Then Giants ninth, Dockers 10th, Bombers 11th, Crows 12th, Saints 13th, Pies 14th, Blues 15th, Suns 16th, Hawks 17th, and Roos 18th. So yeah, those are my tips. I'm the AFL Yank, signing out. Car and the Swannies. I secretly want them to win. You know it.